one couldn't walk alone.
Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. It is Monday, so the TTPS joins us. As per usual, this morning we have Acting Inspector Kurt Callender joining us on set. Good morning to you, Inspector.
A blessed good morning to you, sir. A blessed good morning to you, ma'am. And a blessed good morning to all of Trinidad and Tobago and wherever they are listening up.
How are you doing this morning?
I am great. I am doing fantastic.
It's lovely to have you on this morning. I understand we're chatting about extortion.
Yes, we are.
Now, it's a conversation we've begun to explore already.
Several times.
And so the interest this morning in a particular direction, perhaps, and I would like to start with the question of reminding persons of what the law states where extortion is concerned.
Right,
what legal framework do we have to abide by?
Right, the legal framework that we have to abide by is the Larceny Act, Chapter 11-12, particularly Sections 31 and 32, and probably a little bit of 33. And the offenses per se, it is not extortion, but some of them are demanding money with menace and demanding money with threats, if we are to be guided primarily by Section 31. The legal jargon is quite long. I do not want to bore you to death with that and the listening public. But it's basically demanding, money by menace and uttering certain documents, whether it be via words or action, threatening persons basically to give you their hard-earned money. It is what we refer to in Trinidad and Tobago as protection money, paying the criminal elements or the gangs. You have to pay them to protect you.
Right. So now that we have the legal jargon out of the way, or simplified,
yes,
there is always the conversation of how much of our law incorporates digital media, digital spaces, and electronic means. You did mention that it is either by written form or spoken form.
Yes.
What framework do we have to cover the digital part of things?
Right. You're looking at the Section 30 of the Offences Against the Persons Act, right? That speaks to telephone, email, that kind of stuff. And I quite rightly could remember Inspector Baliba was on this program, and he is in charge of that particular unit that monitors offenses by those particular means, and he would have explained some of the offenses as it relates to Section 30 of the Offences Against the Person Act.
Inspector, do you happen to have the stats in terms of where we stand when it comes to demanding money by menace? And how many people have been charged or anything like that?
I actually do.
Share with us.
Right, so thus far, for the year thus far, we have 21 offenses. We have 19 demanding money with menace and 2 threatened with intent to extort.
Threatened with intent to extort?
To extort.
So that's not demanding money by menace?
No, that is another
the threat of demanding money by menace?
Yes, because the threat could be made via phone, via telephone, via letter, in person.
But the threat to extort, please make the distinction in a more simplified way.
Right, so again we are guided by the offense, the Section 31 and 32 of the Larceny Act. So depending on the report that is made, we now have to, the police has to dive into that particular act, the Larceny Act, Chapter 11-12, and look at Section 31 and Section 32. And based on what is reported, we now have to make the distinction as to exactly what particular offense it is.
So what does that sound like?
Or what the offenses are.
Right. So tell me what that sounds like to the average man. Because if I'm making a report, if I'm making a claim that this is in fact what is happening to me, I may not know which it falls into. Right.
So let me just, I will have to go into some of the legal definition here. So you have Section 31 tells you any person who utters, knowing the contents thereof, any letter or writing demanding of any person with menaces and without any reasonable or probable cause any property or valuable thing, or any person who utters, knowing the contents thereof, any letter or writing accusing or threatening to accuse any other person, whether living or dead, of any crime to which this section applies with intent to extort or gain thereby any property or valuable thing from any person. And section C again mentioned any person who with intent to extort or gain any property or valuable thing from any person accuses or threatens to accuse either that person or any other person, whether living or dead, of any such crime is liable to imprisonment for 15 years. That is demanding money by menace or with menaces. You also have...
But in there you also mentioned the threat of demanding money by menace.
Yes.
Which I find to be very interesting, because if I'm demanding money by menace, that's a threat already.
That's
is it not? So how do I threaten to threaten? You understand what I mean?
Yeah, it is. The legal jargon could be a bit confusing to the average common man, but thankfully for us, we do have legal officers attached to the TTPS.
So they decipher.
Sometimes we may have to seek their directive or even send the file
Right.
to the Director of Public Prosecutions with the evidence that we have.
And they will place it in the category.
And their office, based on what is before them, they can also assist us with what offense or offenses we can charge for. So we do have that. We can seek their assistance as well.
My reason for asking is because if I were to be in a situation where I am being threatened and there's the threat of extortion, I want to know who I'm going to, how I'm supposed to file this, how I'm supposed to approach this.
Right.
So give me information that I could use or jargon that I could understand.
So
as a layman.
quite recently, I think it was the first week of this month, there was a news conference held by the Commissioner of Police was there, Mr. C. Scotland was there, who's the Minister in the Ministry of National Security. Senior Superintendent Richard Smith, who is the head of the North Central Division, he was assigned to be a part of a task force that is responsible primarily to treat with these offenses.
Yeah.
And there is a hotline that persons can call 797-3150 if you are of the opinion and you are not sure what offense it is at all. The least of your concern is what the offense is. If you believe that you are being threatened and that it is an offense or somebody is breaking the law to get money from you by unlawful means, you don't worry too much about what the offense is or what the offenses are. You call this number, 797-3150, and someone there is going to take your report and treat with it, not only with the utmost of confidentiality, but to give it the attention that it deserves. And I can tell you that it is not this is not just hearsay, or for want of a better word, it is not just window dressing. For want of a better word.
We have how many cases? 21?
Yes, because on the recently there was a painstaking exercise, if you want to call it that, to use the term here, after weeks of meticulous investigations and on the clock surveillance, to 3 persons were arrested for many of these offenses in the North Central Division and in the Central Division. So
that's 3 out of the 21 cases? Or the 21 is
only 3 persons were charged in this particular incident, but for many of the, as a matter of fact, one victim, there was a couple that was responsible for extorting one person. Those amounted to over 130 offenses.
Wow, okay.
So when we start talking about charges, which is actual number of offenses, that's an entirely different segment.
Yes, so you can charge 3 persons, but
times.
for multiple offenses of a similar nature.
Right.
Understood.
Understood.
And in that case, we have less to worry about, but more to do. Once we are aware of the fact that we are going through or being extorted in some shape or form, we call
797-3150.
Or you can, if you cannot remember the number, of course, you can call any police station. You can call 999-555-800 tips. All we need is the information. Give us the information and we would give you results.
All right.
Positive results.
And on that note, that is what we need to know.
Yeah, that's all we need to know this morning. Give quality numbers, give the information, get positive results. It's TTPS. Joining us this morning, Acting Inspector Kurt Callender. Sorry. Thank you so much, Inspector Callender, and do enjoy the rest of your day.
It was a pleasure being here.
We take a quick break and we come back with more on the Now Morning Show. Stay tuned.
So short.
Especially in tongue.